Hello everybody, Speed Free 2010 here, and and my apologies, but this is not how I wanted to start the new year of 2025, at least video wise. So, for those of you that don't know, Britt Allcroft has passed away. If you don't know who that is, she is the brilliant mastermind that brought one of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid, Thomas the Tank Engine, to life through the TV show. She basically took the stories from the Railway series, written by the Reverend Wilbert Audrey at the time during the 1940s, and later on being written by his son Christopher, to whom the former would read to the latter when he was sick, and who inspired them to write them down. She brought those stories to life in the form of a TV show named Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, of which is a show that is near and dear to my heart because it was a big part of my childhood growing up. And she has recently passed away at the age of 81 on some sources say it was Christmas Day of 2024. Others, depending on what you look at, saying it was the 27th of that year. Either way, she was 81 years old when she passed away, and I just felt like giving my 2 cents, basically telling you, at least letting you guys know about what that show kind of meant to me as a kid. So, as I said, Britt Allcroft she's the one that actually brought Thomas the Tank Engine to life. If it wasn't for her, who knows how my childhood would have ended up as. Basically, she would her company would make the toys that would actually be used from the show's inception from 1984 all the way up to 2012, 2013, all the way up to season 12, which was the end of the model era before the show would later switch to CGI. Not only that, but Britt Allcroft also wrote some of the earlier stories, at least transitioned what was from the Railway series, a lot of the stories, to a TV form. And in the UK, there were two different narrators. When it first started out, you had one of the Beatles, Ringo Starr, and then later on in later seasons, I don't remember which ones, but you had the late Michael Angelis. And here in the US, we didn't get and it was a massive, and with that, the show was a massive success over there. In about 5 years, in 1989, through a TV show that she also created called Shining Time Station, it also premiered over here in the US. And I remember just not necessarily watching Shining Time Station, but mostly getting the old videotapes through my parents when I was a little kid, and just watching them through there, because that was my first exposure to trains as a kid, and also just the magic of the show entirely. And it's something that just cannot be replicated today. But what makes this show really special is because, to me, is how it reached us, because the lessons were just baked into the story. They weren't like forced down your throat like some other TV shows would normally do. It was kind of like, it wasn't necessarily in your face, but it was subtle enough to where you could understand. And not only that, but while it was intended for children, I also believe that it was also intended for people of all ages, such as even like myself as an adult who has much like Hot Wheels has long outgrown it, but I still come back and enjoy watching the old shows from time to time every now and again, even fan made works and stuff like that. And basically, this was my first exposure to it just through those TV shows, and I just want to say thank you, Miss Allcroft, for everything that you've done and just making this kid, this 30-year-old man, just a bit more happy, just a bit happier and whatnot. and and fun fact, if you lived in the United States at the time, we actually had three narrators in the model era series. Probably my favorite one is arguably, and in my opinion, arguably one of the greatest Thomas narrators of all time, the late great George Carlin, the stand-up comedian from seasons 1 all the way through 4. And what makes him, to me, stand out as one of my favorites, probably one of my favorite memories, because he would always give the trains various different accents to make them stand out in a way. And I think probably my favorite character of the show was literally my namesake, James the Red Mixed Traffic Engine, because not only did we both share the same name and he was painted red in my favorite color, but looking back on it now as a kid, well, as an adult, I think probably one of my favorite things about him was the fact that even though he was vain, he was smug, he was fun to watch. He was just a lot of fun to watch because he kind of reminded me of that one friend that we kind of have who's vain and smug and is always kind of getting into trouble and whatnot, but he means well at the end of the day. And if for any reason, if anybody happens to look upon this video, whether you're a long time subscriber or just a visitor passing through, I personally, as a fan of the show itself, I highly implore that if you have kids or just want to take a stroll back memory lane, give this show a try. Just go into it completely blind. More specifically, look at listen to both the UK dub as well as the United States dubs as a comparison, and also try to introduce your kids to them. Because there's never ever gonna be another kids TV show like this. And so, not only that did she bring the stories to life, but she actually wrote and directed the Thomas and the Magic Railroad movie back in 2000, and she actually voiced the character named Lady in that movie. So, in a way, that will forever be her immortalization, in my opinion, at least. And even though that movie was a bit of a mistake, she admits it was a big mistake in interviews, she was still proud of what she did. And honestly, it was I actually kind of remember that movie because it was literally the first Thomas movie that I saw as a kid. And honestly, speaking of Lady, I actually kind of wish that in later seasons we kind of got more of her, because I think it was a neat concept. I honestly think it was a neat concept at the time, even though we later got the character Emily, who is probably one of my favorite characters growing up. But anyway, that's kind of what I have to say for Britt Allcroft. And also, for now, also, if you take a look at the show now and to what it is, if you take a look at the show now, the current season called All Engines Go, and then just it's a stark contrast to what it was back then. I highly implore that you look at the older stuff, instead of the newer one. If you're gonna get into Thomas, or at least get a good look at what it was back then, what made it so special and magical, because the new season, to me, and forgive me for going on a bit of a side rant, but the new show just doesn't have the magic that Britt Allcroft just brought to the table. It's literally a corporate shell of what it's of its former self, and she even stated in an interview back in 2021 that she denounced it, saying that it literally has no magic. And honestly, it actually just kind of sucks to see where this is where the series may be going now, doing it towards its 81st anniversary this year. But in all seriousness, people, I just wanted to say, just thank you to Miss Britt Allcroft. I wish I could have met you in probably another life, but I just wanted to say thank you for just making my childhood just all that much sweeter, and may you rest in peace. That being said, in terms of fan works, there's Victor Tanzik's show Stories of Sodor. There's Carson's video workshop. There's Tynes Sen Saith, if I'm pronouncing correctly, his two movies. And there's a whole bunch of other fan made stuff out there on YouTube that is still going to live throughout her work. That I just think that other people should just give a try and whatnot, but more specifically, just give just the classic series a try, and then just work your way through the CGI series and whatnot. And yeah, that's all I have to say. My apologies if this video goes a bit too long than anybody else wanted to. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna like beg for likes and whatnot, because this is something that you can watch on your own. So if you want to share your thoughts about what your favorite moment was in the Thomas and Friends franchise, just let me know what you think in the comments section. I like to hear it. Anyway, thanks for watching, I guess, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.